What is good, y'all? Welcome to Let's Cap. We got game one of the NBA Finals and two games in the W. And then if we have time, we can dive into one or two of the MLB games that you guys want to see broken down live. But yesterday was a really good day. Went 3-0 in the W. And we talked all about it. All the games that we talked about were here on the show as well. And then even the MLB, you guys dropped off, but MLB games, we actually did well there too. How did you do yesterday?
Yeah, it was a good day. Honestly, I think the best bet I left on the show was Ace's first half, and they were able to get the cover, even though they did have a subpar second quarter after coming out hot in that first quarter. But it was just kind of what we talked about. We expected them to bounce back off that loss to the Atlanta Dream,
Yeah.
and they did, man. So that was great. Also had the links. I know we both won the links. That game was over with before it started, which was great. Like it's good when you take a road team, you got
Yeah.
them winning by by multiple possessions, by three, four possessions, and they really don't come out and play with their food. So I thought they did a really good job of putting their foot on the Sparks' necks early in that game, and just
Mhm.
I think they went up like 11-0. It was really just over after that. So
It was
I was
like,
able to go to sleep at halftime.
what was hella crazy though? In that third, fourth quarter, I think in the third quarter they were up 28, and it got down to like 12, and I was like, no, this is not happening.
See, I fell asleep. I ain't even watched this.
Oh yeah, no, they're up by 28 sometime in the third quarter. Yeah, and then Sparks came back down to 12, and I was like, bro, if they don't cover this,
Yeah,
this
that's
is
why it's
crazy.
always scary, especially taking the road team. And you know what? The only thing that gave me, we had talked about the injury report yesterday, but the thing that gave me a little bit of concern was just that the uh the Lynx hadn't laid points on the road. Like that was their first time laying points on the road.
Yeah.
So it's one thing to trust a team at home laying multiple possessions, but can you really go on the road? Because that entails like having to get stops. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
create that separation to cover those big numbers like 7.5 or 9 or that. I know you were a little bit more confident than the Aces doing that, which they also got the job done. But
Hmm.
a young Lynx team, first time laying that many possessions on the road. But I mean, I think it just speaks to how bad the Sparks are. RC.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, offensively, they turn the ball over. A lot of things that we mentioned too. Turn the ball over, points off turnovers. Limiting the free throws. I mean, towards the end of the game, they got to the free throw line a lot, but I think they were just getting sloppy because the game was kind of out of hand or whatever. But yeah, no, a lot of things we talked about, went well yesterday. So hopefully we can do it again today. First up, though, we're gonna talk about the NBA. Chris, game one, Mavericks and the Celtics. So I'll bring up my screen here, and I'm gonna bring up Killer Sports too because I know you're probably gonna bring up some queries as well. Let me share my screen. All right, so the only thing that I have up in Killer Sports right now is this one. Very, very simple, real quick analysis, right? So in the finals, NBA finals, if a team is rested more than the opponent and they're at home, 8-2 straight up and against the spread, 7-3 to the under, and that points to the Celtics. This is just one simple query that shows the advantage for the Celtics at home. But I did take this. I think I talked to you about it, right? I talked to you last week. I was like, I already took the six. It's only at 6.5, so it's not like I got a whole bunch of value or whatever. But I did take the Celtics -6. I didn't mess with the total. It's come up. I remember it being at like 214, 213.5, and it's up to 216.5 right now. But I mean, if you just to me, I think a lot of it has to do with sort of a letdown here on the Mavs side, right? They played extremely well. They played really tough opponents. Celtics have had an easy route, but in from a total perspective, I feel like the total might be going in the wrong direction. I feel like it's more of an under type game. Two defensive minded teams. If you look at some of the numbers as far as pace goes during the playoffs, both of them are towards the bottom of the league. So it does say 18 here, but there was 20 teams during the playoffs, right? So that's kind of what it shows. Bottom in pace, like slow pace teams. Uh, they don't send, especially the Celtics. They don't send people to the free throw line, and that's one way that the Mavs were really successful at during their time in the playoffs. And just a few other pieces, but overall, that's the only reason. I mean, I didn't take the total. I feel like I want to take the. Oh, I see skiing now. I feel like I want to take the total to the under now that it's come up a little bit, but I'm gonna stick with the Celtics here at the -6. What up, Ski? Thanks for popping in.
Was good.
We just
Uh,
started. We just did. We just started doing the NBA first. I know you did NBA yesterday, but yeah, do you have anything to talk about in this one?
those numbers you got right there are playoff numbers.
Yeah, these are playoff numbers right here.
I would just argue the Celtics 18th in pace, but
They
I mean,
played still safe teams,
haven't they
right?
gone over like 6 of their last 8 or something like that?
We could check that.
Celtics been going over lately. I feel like the offense is just so efficient. So I don't really. It's like how Denver plays slow, but they still go over. That's kind of how I view the Celtics.
Because of where the number is at, right? Where the total is at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it. They also played very. I mean, prior to that, right? They played Heat and the Cavs, so that kind of that also kind of skews their pace numbers when it goes to playoffs too. So I get what you're saying, and then obviously the overs here. If you look at the overs here against Cavs, 204, 205, and I feel like they were these were just very very low, so they had to go over. I mean, like they scored what 111 here. Or it's like 211 here, but then you go against the Pacers, whose defense is not that great, right? So that kind of also affects the overs as well. Mavs is definitely, I would say, one of the top defensive teams in the league, especially after the deadline, right? The trade deadline. But yeah, I mean, I haven't taken the under, but that would be the way that I lean.
I'll continue to argue and say that Mavs, I mean, I'll start with last series. They were able to, they didn't really have to respect Gobert on offense. They could just sit in the paint all day and protect the
Mhm.
paint, and they could get the ball, blitz Anthony Edwards, whatever they want to do, take the ball out of Anthony Edwards' hands. Um, you can't do that with the Celtics. Everybody can create shots.
Mhm.
Everybody can score. Everybody can shoot. It's going to be a much tougher defensive task for them. And the bigs for the Mavericks will have to come out of the paint, which is something they're going to be uncomfortable
KP.
with.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's opening up the door for a lot of, easy baskets inside the paint too when the center's not down there. So
Mhm.
I see a lot of ways for the Celtics to score. At the same time, as much as I like Drew Holiday and Derek White, I like Luca and Kyrie a lot more. I think I think they'll be able to score on them too. So I, I don't know. I see points. I think more the series goes on and they finally start to find some adjustments for what the other teams are doing. We'll see it be lower scoring. But out the
Mhm.
gate, I probably agree with the market.
Got you. Chris, what are your thoughts on this one?
Um, on the total, I think what Ski saying makes a ton of sense. But if we're looking at historics, then a lot of the historic trends, of course, point to the under, even, especially with all this rest. So I don't feel strongly on the total. I agree, like I said, I agree with a lot of what Ski's saying. I think I kind of want to see how things kind of play out first. Because in my opinion, Boston's gonna be in some I think they're gonna play against the best player that they played in so far in the playoffs, with Luka Doncic being on the other side. And I also think, to what Ski's saying, those bigs being bought out, like they're gonna have to Gafford and Lively gonna get bought out the paint to guard Porzingis, and Al Horford get pulled away from the rim. And it's just gonna be interesting to see who kind of dictates pace. So I don't have a strong opinion on the total at all. My question to you guys would be, I guess if we're talking about the total, because Boston plays so well and scores so many points early, do we like is it a first half over, whereas the full game could potentially go under? We see the defense pick up in the second half, or are we thinking more just like full game over, because both of these teams go like probably over their team total?
Well, shaded towards the first half, the number you get is a 111. So that's
Mhm.
how the books think is going to go. I could understand that. I mean, we all know Luca, he tries to play fast. He can play a little faster, but he's one of the slower players. And at the end of the game, if it's close, I could absolutely see it being, slowed down. Or even if it's a blowout, you see them take their players out. So I
Mhm.
think there's something to that early over.
Yeah, I mean, I just looked this up here again because I looked at specifically home favorites in the first round or in the first game of the finals with rest advantage. But if you just look at home teams in the first in game one, the finals in general, man. It just seems like they take care of business at home in game one. There's no other parameter to it. It's just first game of the series at home. Um, did you guys take a side here? I know we were kind of talking about the total, but did you guys take a side here? I already took the Celtics -6, so I just feel like that's the only way that I could look.
I think this is like a, how you say it. Um, what's what's the shit when it like goes back and forth? You know what I'm trying to
Zigzag.
say? Zigzag.
Zigzag.
Yeah, I think it's a zigzag kind of series. It just I'm
Yeah.
hoping I could be on the right wavelength. I want to be on the right when I want to zig when it's supposed time to zig and zag
Yeah,
when it's
yeah.
time to zag.
Hey, we already know with the Celtics is game 2 they lose, and then game 3 they show up. That's how it's been this whole playoffs. I
Yeah.
can kind of see the same thing going here, with this series too. To be honest, I feel like this is going to be a 7-game series. I think a lot of people are saying Celtics in 5, Celtics in 6, but man, I think it's going to go seven games, and I don't even know who's going to win. Like, it's going to be tough.
I think the longer the series goes on, it favors the Mavericks because one, Porzingis' health. I think longer it goes on, we got to worry about him. And
Mhm.
two, Mavericks have the coaching advantage. But in this first game, I mean, they have the rest advantage. They've known probably who they were going to play for a majority of the time. They've been able to prepare. Not that the Mavs didn't, but Mavs still had to fight and end that series. They've had time off too, but I just think the more time off, being at home, we already seen what the home teams have done. Um, I talked about it earlier, how I think Dallas's defense will struggle a little bit to guard the Celtics team. Do I think that will continue for the entire series? Probably not. But
Mhm.
let's talk about Dallas in game ones. They've been extremely poor. They haven't covered any. They've covered one since Jason Kidd, I believe, and that was the one after the Timberwolves came off of that game 7 versus Denver, and they're just exhausted. You know what I'm saying? So besides that, I mean, they haven't shown us that they're great to start series. So I think the Celtics are really supposed to zig first in this one.
Mhm.
And that's perfect segue for me, Ski. I actually bet first half, Boston first half. Just thinking that they're at home. If you leave up what you got on the screen, honestly, like with the Mavs in their series game 1,
Yeah.
and it's kind of interesting that they get in such a big hole. Look at that. Like first quarter is 30-24, second quarter is 30-23. So then if you just change team to Boston, we know that they've had you can say that they had the easiest schedule, which I guess is a little bit of counter argument to Ski's point. The longer the series goes on, like in the Mavericks, even though I do like the Mavericks, I just kind of feel like the Mavs have had the harder, like they've had to fight more, they've had to play more games, whereas Boston only played 14 games.
Mhm.
They lost one each in the first 2 rounds, and that was it. Just kind of take care of business afterwards. But if I like what Boston does early, to start the series, all their games have been at home, and I think Dallas is going to start slow. I love those numbers right there. And then, just throughout the season as well, Boston's been one of the better first half teams that I can remember, like in the history of basketball. 64, 31, and 1 against the spread in the first half. 7-3 in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs as well. And even though the Mavs, like they are strong, 57-41-1 against the spread overall, they don't start the game off well. 48-50-1 against the spread in the first half. So that's why I wanted to shoot my shot is early in this game and see if if Boston continues. And I just need them to have a 2-point lead. To Ski's point, I think more adjustments will have to be made for the Dallas Mavericks than the Boston Celtics. And I think Coach Kidd will make those adjustments. It just won't be before halftime. So give me Boston to be winning, by multiple possessions at the end of the first half. I laid the 3.5 this morning.
Got you. What do you guys think about because I'm looking at the home road splits in the playoffs. The Celtics first in offensive rating there. Have you guys looked at like team totals or anything like that?
Nah,
Not gonna
I
mess
won't
with it.
probably I won't get into that until probably after I see a game.
Yeah, I agree. So I did look. The one thing I did check real quick, RC, I looked at I wanted to see the Mavs, and maybe you could pull this up on Killer Sports so that people can see it. But I wanted so the audience can see it. I wanted to look at the Mavericks. If we're expecting Boston to win, whether they cover the number or not, I looked at the Mavs this season in the playoffs, in their losses. and they haven't covered any of them. 0-5 straight up, 0-5 against the number, 4-1 to the under, and they actually went under their team total in all of them except that one against the Clippers in game 2. And their team total, I think, is like 104, 104 and a half, I think, 105 and a half, something like that. So that, with Boston being, probably the best defense that they faced, the most versatile defense that they definitely have faced, because they have faced some really good defenses. The Thunder was a really good defense. The Timberwolves, of course, was a really good defense, but they don't, in my opinion, they don't have the versatility that the Boston Celtics do. They're not as good rebounding the basketball. We know the Thunder, struggled in the rebounding department. Boston's actually been one of the better rebounding teams, and they're gonna put pressure on you on the opposite side with their ability to be able to score the basketball. So that kind of made me thought, Dallas team total under.
Yeah.
But
that was one way I was looking too, because if you look at this is one of the other that one initial trend that I sent or showed was the home favorites with rest advantage going into the finals, right? That is what, only 2, so 8-2 to the team total under for the road team. So they typically stay under their team total. So that kind of aligns with what you were just mentioning.
Yeah, we've seen Boston be very good. If we look at Boston real quick, I see in game 1s, you probably can just go back to it. Boston in game 1s of the playoffs so far. I know that they've been really strong defensively early too. I just, like Ski said, I want to, like, I don't know how you guys feel about it. I know it's a betting show. I kind of want to enjoy the finals and not have like a whole bunch of money on the line, like especially early.
The finals and have
I just want to enjoy the finals. So I got one bet, like I just see what happened, and then I just want to be able to enjoy it afterwards.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's how I kind of think about it.
We'll see how these first games go, and then we'll think about it. But I like this Celtics game 1. I think that's the way to go. All right. Any last words?
Finesse is a Celtics fan, right?
Huh?
Finesse is a Celtics fan, right?
Die hard.
Oh yeah, he's in the chat. I see you.
Is he?
Yeah, he's in the chat.
Bang!
You got a shot this time, Finesse.
Any last comments on this before we move to the W?
Nah.
No. Okay.
I like what Chris said about that. Dallas, all the games they haven't lost, they didn't cover either. So I like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Let's go to WNBA. We have the Sky and the Mystics. So I did take the 3.5 yesterday. It was 3.5 yesterday. It's come down. I'm not really sure 100% why it's going down. I feel like 2 things, and Ski, I was just in your show too that you were talking about it, but no Shakira Austin, no Brittany Sykes. There's no way you could really back them. One way too that if you, like I said, I already took the Sky, but I feel like, I know you mentioned on your show, Ski, the Mystics team total under, but what I wanted to show here is when Shakira Austin is not on the court, their defensive rating just shoots up to 107.4. That means we're gonna and Brittany Sykes as well. I think the defense shoots up. But then if you look at who pops in, right, Hines Allen, their defensive rating when they're in is way higher as well. And I think it was who's it, Samuelson and Melbourne. I think the other 2 who play a little bit more. But it's not like their defensive stoppers either. Would you think the Sky team total over would be another way to go? More so than the offense, because if you look at their offense, it's almost pretty similar offensive rating. I mean, they're always going to struggle offensively, but it seems like the gap is not in the offensive rating. It's more so on the defensive side of the ball. Would you? I don't know if you already took the Mystics team total over. I'm just trying to talk it out, but would you think the Sky team total over would be better than the Mystics team total under?
I don't know about better, but I also considered that. I mean, I took the Sky and I took the Mystics team total under. I thought about the Sky team total over just because, like, not even thinking about numbers. It's just less rim protection. You're already missing another good defender in Sykes. I mean, I think Chicago is going to be really pissed after losing a couple games, and they have more than enough capable scorers over there. So 80.5, I thought that was a pretty reasonable ask. I like it too.
Yeah, the other reason why I was kind of leaning towards the team total over too was if you look at the turnover rate, right? So Mystics turning the ball over at the highest rate, Sky forcing turnovers. That means they're going to get points off turnovers. The other thing too is Mystics send opponents to the free throw line a ton. So this is just extra opportunities to score for the Sky. It's just for them to really take advantage of it if they're going to be able to do that. And then the mid range game, because I don't think that the Sky are really a great 3-point shooting team. I think they're more of an inside, like mid range or whatever it is, and just forcing shots in the paint. So I think that's where they could take advantage too, especially with no Shakira Austin. So to me, I feel like I still want to. I think I'm gonna push myself and get to that Sky team total over. I'm gonna see if I think if the line continues to move down, hopefully the number gets a little bit better for me. But like I said, I already took the 3.5 yesterday. Chris, what do you have on the W or in this game here?
Yeah, a lot of what you guys are talking about, man. I can't to put it in Ski's words. One of Ski's phrase, you got to put this on a T-shirt. Ski. I can't catch that falling knife with the Mystics.
Nah.
Like, I know the lines keep coming down. I don't know what people know that I don't know, but
that's what I'm saying.
it ain't. Yeah, I can't do it. The one hesitation I see with because I actually like the full game to go under. I didn't bet it yet, but 156. It feels appropriate. You brought up some things that kind of scared me off just a tad bit, but the Sky, like their offense, we expect the Sky offense to play a little bit like to be able to score the basketball because the Mystics defense is so bad. But remember, it was just Saturday that they went to Indiana and couldn't win a game against another team that didn't have a win. They couldn't score basketball. They lost their game because they couldn't score. If you go back and look at it, so
Fever defense is ass too.
Right, the Fever defense is that. That's why I was so pissed because I know Ski, you was on the opposite side of me. You was on Fever, and they held the. I was so upset that they shot like 13% from the 3-point line. But so that's what I looked at. I see.
Isn't that the first game that Cardoso played? So she was kind of getting, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I think she was She was on two things. She was on a minute restriction, and then she was getting integrated into the offense as well.
That's true. That's true. But what I looked at, I see. So the Sky, they've been held under 80 points in 2 of the 4 road games so far. They've actually held 3 of their opponents under their team total in 4 of the road games so far. So their defense plays well. Opponents only shooting 41% from the field, 33% from the 3-point line. Meanwhile, their offense has really struggled too. They shot under 42% so far in their road games, only 26% from the 3-point line. In Washington, the team plays at the 3rd slowest pace. Mystics 2-1 to the under at home. And the only over game actually happened where Brittany Sykes and Shakira Austin actually did play. They combined for 27 points in that game. In their last 2 home games, they stayed under by 6 points versus Storm and 24 to the Dream. So yeah, so a little bit conflictual. I think what we both all agree on, and that's probably what I'll just I already played it, which is the Sky. I think I just stay with the Sky and stay off the total. But I can see this one being under because even though the Mystics defense is trash, somehow they held Connecticut. That game went under in the last game. So
that held me off too.
Yeah, that scares the shit out of me if I'm being honest. Like, I don't want to expect points with a young Sky team on the road versus a Mystics team that I know is still going to be feisty, trying to get they're going to scrap and claw as much as they possibly can. They were tied with the Connecticut Sun at halftime just a couple nights ago on Tuesday. So that holds me up on the total thinking overs at all, RC. But I'll root for you and won't bet against you.
No, I don't know. I think I'm gonna just stick with Sky too. I mean, you guys bring up a lot of good points. Ski, I think did you talk about this one yet or no?
A little bit. I'm on that Mystic team total under, and I'm on the Sky. Yeah.
Okay. I just did this road home splits too, and their offensive rating is like dead last. Only averaging 74. What is their Mystics team total under?
76.5 is what I got.
Damn. Okay. I might ride with you on that.
1 + 1 = 2. We're gonna see. I like it too, Ski.
Makes sense. Makes sense. All right, let's move on to Liberty and Dream. All right, Chris, you want to go on this one first?
Yeah, I can. So a couple things for New York that I don't really like a lot. I don't like that. I haven't really seen this bench perform well, like throughout the regular season so far. They rely heavily upon their starters, and Sabali's going to continue to be out. I think it's going to be a second straight missed game. I also don't like that. I mean, she's terrible defensively, but Courtney Vandersloot is now downgraded to questionable due to personal reasons. Not sure if she's going to be available. And I also kind of feel like the Liberty had that last game circled against the Sky because the Sky beat them in the preseason, smoked them in the preseason, and then they also went into New York and beat them for Coach Teresa Weatherspoon like 2 weeks ago as well as a 16-point dog, I think it was. Liberty are the better team. I know it's a Commissioner's Cup game, but they also are at the rest disadvantage here. Only 1 day of rest, where the Dream haven't played since they lost to Connecticut over the weekend. So it's a big rest advantage differential here. And that makes me like the under, and it makes me like the home dogs in this spot. Atlanta's offense has really struggled to score the basketball. If you go in and look at the unders, they've been a big under team. And I think a big part of it, because they were a fast-paced team that flew over the totals last year, I think a big part of it has been watching Tina Charles. This is only my second year capping the WNBA, but I knew she was a finals MVP or MVP of the league. So I went back and just tried to do my homework and due diligence on her. And she really helps defensively a lot. I think, they're trying to run the offense through her just a tad bit more. She has a couple games where she has a double-double. And I think that's a big part of it. I don't trust the Liberty's offense, even though they are the number one rated offensive team if you just look at the numbers. And I don't trust this Dreams offense either. They've been playing a lot slower, a lot more defense for their head coach. So I like under. One big trend I looked at was home dogs with at least 3 days rest, playing against an opponent that only had 1 day's rest. 46, 33, and 2 to the under. That's almost 60%. Liberty being 3-1 to the under on the road, with their games going under by an average of 5 points. And then the Dream, 3-1 to the under at home, their games staying under by an average of 16 points. And they've actually stayed under their team total in all 4 home games, and 3 of their 4 their opponents have actually gone under the team total as well. So I say all that to say that if I'm playing, I'm taking the points with the home dog here, and I'm definitely looking towards the under 164.5, 165.5.
Got it. Offense, defensive rating on the court is 86.5. Off the court is 99.7. That I would have thought that would have been like the opposite. That's kind of interesting. With Sloot, is she questionable or doubtful?
She's questionable, but it's for personal reasons, so not sure.
Okay.
I think I was looking into that too earlier. Here's my theory. I could be wrong. Is that when Courtney goes to the bench, maybe Jacquel goes with her because I know her defensive impact on the game can't be that great. So maybe they sub together
too. I think, right?
Yeah. Maybe her and Laney go out together. It got to be her and somebody else subbing out at the same time for Sandy Brondello's rotation over there. It can't just be Courtney having that much of a defensive impact. Not with what my eyes are seeing when I'm watching them play.
Yeah, Ski, what you got on this one?
Yeah, I didn't really like this one too much, but I do lean towards the under. You had the pace numbers up there, and either team playing a tempo. And Atlanta, they've just been playing a lot of games under this number lately. I think their last game didn't even barely touch 120. So just a combination of all those things. I trust both teams defensively. Lean under. Didn't get there though.
I took the Dream plus the point 6.5. Couple of things is pace of play and defense. I think some of the numbers could be a little bit skewed just because the Dreams. I think you mentioned this, Chris, in the chat and Ski show, but the Liberty's schedule has been pretty easy so far compared to what the Dream has had to do and kind of go through. Right, they just played Connecticut. They just played the Aces. That's a tough schedule. Obviously, they didn't dominate Washington like they should have, but looking ahead to Aces and the Sun back to back, it's kind of tough to really focus in on that game, knowing that they could win pretty easily, right? And then if you look at the Liberty, they played Indiana 3 times already, right? But I think they played Indiana 3 times.
They played them 3 times. Yeah,
they played them 3 times already. And they played Washington. They played Chicago a couple times, I think, already now. So they've had a really easy schedule. I think they even played Phoenix when Phoenix was a little bit shorthanded. So, I mean, to me, I think some of the numbers might be a little bit skewed. I think the Dreams defense is really solid. The Liberty's offensive numbers, I think, like I said, skewed because of who they played so far, especially with the Fever being there 3 times and knowing that they're one of the worst defensive teams in the league. So I took the 6.5. I also lean towards the under. I didn't get that with the under though. Yeah, 6.5 is the way that went. Is it moving right now? It's still 6.5. 6.5. I think we're good. Total is moving upwards. I think that's wrong. I agree with you guys towards the under, but I didn't take it.
I think I'm gonna play both. I think I'm gonna play both because you like I like what both of you guys said. So Ski likes the under. I already like the under, and then you like the home dog, and I agree with
We
you there.
man, I got bit by the Liberty team total under the other day.
Yeah,
I had team total under 87.
I ain't messing with no team totals.
Team total under 87. They had 85 with 14 seconds left. Up
pulled up.
11.
Sabrina
pulled up and hit a 3 because of the
bring that ass over here, boy.
it was that. What is that called? The Commissioner Cup. The fucking rule for the the margin and shit. So that's the only reason I got bit on that one. I could have. Yeah, I was pissed. But then you see other teams yesterday who was up 11 and just dribbled the ball out.
Yeah. To your point, RC, real quick. The Mystics and the Fever have 1 win combined, right? I don't know how many losses, but we know it's a lot. And the Liberty have scored 85, 102, 91, 104 in the 5 games that they've played those 3 teams.
Yeah.
Like I think they're the number 1 rated offensive team, but I do think that maybe they let their head down just a tad bit because they had their last game circled, I think, against the Sky after losing both games so far.
That revenge angle or whatever.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You're just saying. I like it. I'm actually gonna add that too. I'm gonna add the under. All right, cool. All right, so that's the W, and that's the we went through game 1 of the NBA 2. I do have time for a couple MLB games, and Chris and Ski, I know you guys not messing with it right now. Yesterday, hey, you should have stayed on yesterday. We killed it. I killed it yesterday in the MLB. So, but yeah, I know you guys are waiting and sitting out for a little bit until NBA and WNBA kind of settles. But yeah, I appreciate you guys for hopping on. If you guys want to drop some your best plays or any comments for the viewers, feel free to do so. Chris, you go first.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll do one for both. So Boston, first half for me, minus the 3.5. I talked about why I like that a lot. Just think that they start the series off right at home, and Dallas has been slow starters, so we'll go there. And then for the W, Sky, I'll take the Sky. Like I said, I got 4. I'm not sure why the number's coming down, but I think that they win the game by multiple possessions today. So those would be my 2 best bets for today: Sky and Boston first half.
Awesome. All right, Ski, what you got?
I'll go with the Mystics team total under 76.5. And yeah, I agree with Chris. I like this guy too. So we're on the same page there.
Yeah, we're all on that one.
Cash him.
Love it. All right, for W, I took this. I took the Sky already. I took the Dream. I'm gonna ride with the under, and then the Mystics team total under as well. So, hey, we're pretty much all on the same shit. So we better cash today.
Let's get paid.
Yep. And then I took Boston -6. So, and I still like it at the 6.5. All right, Chris, Ski, guys, or viewers, if you guys don't know, you guys probably know them more than I do. I mean, more than you guys know me or whatever. So these guys are way more popular. They got a huge following. Their shows are amazing. Chris is in the morning, so you can get the lines really early. Ski is right before this show at 10:30, and he dives deep into the games as well. So make sure you guys catch their shows as well. All right, appreciate it, Chris, Ski.
Appreciate you having me on, RC. Best of luck, Ski.
Yep, you too.
Let's move on to MLB. Reds. Yeah, we could do that, Doug. Do Reds and Cubs. All right, so we have the Reds -126 at home. Hunter Green and Assad. 2 pretty. I mean, I would say pretty solid. Green is definitely he has potential. All right, so we look at the rating system. We have a 3 for the Reds, so that gives an edge to the Reds here. It looks like they have an edge in every piece based on our rating. So starting pitcher, bullpen, and team batting. All right, so we actually have a baller system here that says to back the Reds as well. So that's the rating system and a baller system. All right, so we have the schedule. So first game at home, first game on the road, coming off of a series, just 2-game series against the White Sox. They went to leaving Colorado. That's a I think that's something that we got to look at. So leaving Colorado, the first game leaving Colorado. All right, so last 5 starts for Hunter Green, 6 innings pitched, so that's pretty consistent. Gave up 5 earned runs though. Potential bounce back here for Hunter Green. Assad, they didn't pitch against each other, but they pitched recently. 2 earned runs, 5 in the third. So we look at the splits. I'm gonna pull last 30. Starter splits, nothing significant here. Maybe a lean towards the under based on starter. So Cubs struggle against righties, especially in the first 5. That's one thing that we see here. And on the total, it looks like an under, right? So we look at Reds first 5 and full game, lean towards the under. And then if you look at specifically as home favorites, 4-0 to the under in the first 5. And then you see 4-2 to the under as road dogs here in the first 5 for the Cubs against righties. Okay. And then we go batting, edge to the Reds for sure here. What's interesting is their barrel and hard hit rate is really low for the amount of runs that they're putting up. So there could be potential for regression on the runs per game. If we go pitching, I would say a little, maybe potential negative regression on Assad's side as far as giving up runs. And then the bullpen here, I think Reds get the advantage in the bullpen. Neither of these pitchers have great control though. Like it looks like they're walking people. Walks per 9. But they do strike out a lot. I would say this is a Reds game. So I agree with the rating here. I would say the Reds on the money line. I have time for one more game if anyone wants to dive into another game, but this one here I would say Reds on the money line. Did it move or anything? No. It's actually going the other way to Chicago. What am I missing? What did you have on it, Doug? Which way were you leaning? I'm worried about this Colorado thing. Let's actually look that up. All right, so let's go here. We'll say season greater than or equal to 2020. All right, so this says since 2020, if their last opponent was the Rockies in Colorado, and then they're on the road again against a different opponent. So a new series, basically. Yeah, so that actually aligns with the quick cap that I just did, Reds and the under. I mean, you could just say Cubs team total under, right? That would probably be the way to go there. Nothing super significant here as far as are they at home actually? Oh, they're at home. Okay, so Rockies, after facing the Rockies, first game of the series, I don't think it's anything significant. It doesn't look like it. Okay. Could you do Yankees game? Yeah, let's do Yankees. Yankees and Twins. Yankees minus 154. Stroman versus Lopez. Slight edge to the Yankees, but based on the line, the Twins, right? So, so Yankees have a 1 here. That means the potential or the estimated odds would be minus 111 to minus 124. With it being at 154, the edge actually is to the Twins based on the line. All right, so Yankees have taken both games so far. All right. Last 5 for Stroman. So gave up 6 hits here, went 7 and 1/3, went pretty far. Two earned runs here. Okay, and then Lopez, he struggled a bit. 2 straight starts where he struggled. Bounce back here. All right. Okay, so the splits. So as a home favorite, Stroman or the Yankees are 0-2 when Stroman starts. As a road dog here, Lopez 1-0. Total perspective, I don't think nothing super significant. Here's one here on the Twin side that pops out. 12-5-1 to the under versus right-handed pitchers in the last 30 days. As a road dog, 5-1 to the under. I think we probably looked at something similar to this the other day. So Yankees first 5 against right-handed pitchers, 23-1 on the money line, and then as a home favorite, 10-2. As a favorite in general, 16-2-1. So this would say maybe I mean if you wanna look at the money line, it would probably be juice, but if you like this trend here, that would be the run line. It would give you better odds. I look at the stats here. Definitely an edge to the Yankees when it comes to the offensive side of the ball. And the pitching matchup, damn, look at this gap here between the ERA and the FIP and xFIP. What's his full season numbers? Last 5 starts, giving up hits. I feel like there's a point where we might see some negative regression from Stroman, but based on the offense of the Twins recently, it just doesn't seem like this is the game that it'll happen. Maybe. He's obviously not. So, yeah, this one's tough. The bullpen, I feel like it's going to be. I feel like this is an over type game. What's the total? Over 8.5? I would look towards the over. Yankees should be able to put up runs, and if we see a negative regression from Stroman, then the Twins should be able to put up some runs too. So I would say an over on this one. So that kind of goes well with your Judge look, right? In my opinion. All right, so that's 2 games there in the MLB. We dove into the WNBA as well, and game 1 of the NBA Finals. All right, so that's it, guys. Thanks for all who tuned into the show here. Obviously, this is the end. If you enjoyed the show, please share the show with others. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe before you go as well. Make sure you get those alerts going so that you don't miss any of the future shows. Tomorrow, I might have a show. Not 100% sure. We'll see what happens. I'll post it on my Twitter if I do. And if I do have it, it won't be at 11 o'clock. So the time will be different tomorrow if I run the show. But also make sure you check out the links in the description. All the sources that I use, themoneyballer.com, Killer Sports, Give Me the Dog, all that stuff is here, is in the links below. And as always, I have to end like this. Remember, whether you fade us or follow us, it is on you to make that call. Good luck with all your action. Till next time, peace.